trying to continue Europe's 100% record in matches in this 2018 World Cup of Pool so far. But do not underestimate the Vietnamese. We learnt that in the inaugural event in Newport in Wales in 2006, when they surprised a lot of people by making it all the way to the semi-finals.
Well, Yu-hsuan and Jung-hwa have been around, and they're good players. And pool is quite popular in Vietnam. We've seen them on when the Asian tour was happening. And there's no particular tour going on right now, but they have played at the highest level. So this should be a competitive match right here.
And the break will be made by Ruíz.
Fine young player. So right away, he's got a wing ball down, the green 6, and there is a shot on the yellow 1. Well, the table yesterday, Phil, was breaking easy at the beginning, and then it sort of tightened up a bit and it was a bit unpredictable. So we saw some guys slamming the balls hard, and then we saw some guys doing the medium to soft break. Haven't seen any patterns yet that anyone's particularly picked up on, which is probably good. This is what happens when you have hand racking. It's not template racking.
Well, that cluster of balls on the right-hand side of the table makes it an almost certain snooker. If there's a gap there, that's a miracle.
Of course, many times yesterday, as you always see in 9-ball, the team, first of all, the number one thing is the break. If you get a good break and get an open table, it can be a run out very easily.
Extension call.
But barring that, after the break shot, the safety play is probably the next most important thing. It's that one element of the game that can really turn the tide in a match. If you can get your opponent to foul or to leave an open shot such as that, that is a factor that is just huge.
Yes, the Vietnamese will be consoled here by the fact that the 3 and the 4 are rather awkward.
So if you're new to 9-ball, rotation game, lowest numbered ball first must be hit.
Extension call.
First. So that would be the yellow 1. The 1 doesn't have to be pocketed. It just has to be hit first. Any other ball contacted after that counts. Of course, here they're going to be pocketing the 1 ball.
Two-9 combination maybe to start the day off.
Yeah, rather than break up that cluster, they're going to go for the 2-9 combo. David Alcaide.
And he's straight in on the angle here. It looks like a lot of distance between the two balls concerned, but a very viable shot. And Ted, in it goes. So David Alcaide, last year's World Masters champion, masters that combination. And Spain, the number 7 seeds, are off to a flyer. Just a couple of balls potted, but enough to secure rack number 1.
And all that coming off that safety shot from Spain. And that forced the Vietnamese into sort of taking a whack at that 1 ball. Didn't really have a plan after that as to where anything was going to end up. And Spain ended up with a shot and the 2-9 combo and a 1-0 lead.
As I said before, though, Vietnam should not be underestimated. When they had the first ever World Cup of Pool in 2006, It wasn't just the fact that they got to the semi-finals, it was the teams they beat to get there. It was a tremendous performance, not by these two, of course. Nevertheless, they had some tremendous results. They beat Nick Vandenberg and Niels Feijen. That was in the last 16. They beat the Italians, including Fabio Petroni, in the quarter-finals, and eventually only succumbed 9-7 to Earl Strickland and Rodney Morris in the last 4.
And Nguyen was a member of that team. So he's been around and he's played at the highest levels. There's a soft immediate. That is the best break we've seen so far. Look at that. I bet a few players are paying attention to what David Alcaide just did. The 1, the 5, and the 6. That was ideal. And a shot on the blue 2. Lowest number ball on the table right now is the 2.
And even before the blue 2 had stopped rolling, Francisco Ruíz was looking at the 3-9, whether that was a possible combination. I don't think he's going to be the case.
No, it's not. It's certainly the 3 passes into the other pocket. It's a wide open table. At this level, they'll just run the balls out. Yeah, if you were down at the pub or in the local pool hall, you might take a whack at it, the 3-9. But these guys will just run it out.
Slightly short of pace with the positional shot, but no headache. You're right, Ted. What a break that was.
That was the best break I've seen so far in this World Cup of Pool. Interesting because he didn't smash the balls. He took a little pace off that break shot. So let's pay attention. Let's see if they get this. They get out here. They're going to be breaking again. It'll be Ruíz. I'm sure he will try to replicate that break from the same spot, same speed.
Well, just a tad clumsy. It's left a more difficult pot than it should have been, but really Alcaide shouldn't have any great issue with this. Well, it struggled in the end. Off that near jaw, he must have been a little concerned as the 9 ball went towards the pocket, but it did find the target. And after that explosive break, Vietnam find themselves very quickly 2-0 adrift.
Perfect start for Spain. They win the first rack off a nice safety. Come out with a fantastic break shot. Here it is, you see from David Alcaide. Look at that. The wing ball down, the 1 ball in the side. The 5 ball also going down. So just ideal. And a shot on the 2. So they break and run on that rack, and you'll see Ruíz, almost sure he's going to do the same exact thing as his partner David. Alcaide winning that World Pool Masters, as we've mentioned a few times, and then went on for a great stint with Team Europe at the Mosconi Cup in Vegas as they captured yet another big Mosconi Cup win over Team USA.
Yes, and it wasn't his debut in the Mosconi Cup, Alcaide. He was the first ever Spaniard to represent Europe in that event way back in 2006. He's been around a while.
Next 3. Spain break.
He is a veteran, and he has been at the top of the sport for well over a decade now. Always performs well and puts in a great effort. So here we go. Let's watch the speed here. The Alcaide took quite a bit off the speed. It was more of a medium soft break. Wow. Another good break shot there. Look at that. The 1 and the 6, Phil, and a shot on the 2.
The Spaniards seem to have the break sorted out.
This is what I mean about the break being the most important shot in pool, because it is the first shot, and if you can figure that out, you can control the table and keep your opponent parked in his chair in this winner breaks format. So the key here is getting to the red 3-up table. Well, that is precision right there.
Alcaide just checking, but we know from that shot that the 4 will fly past the 7. So again, no obvious obstacle.
Just has to get position on this 4, and then it's absolutely clear sailing right from here.
Well, the first 3 racks for Spain have been the stuff of pool dreams, or, if you're in the opposing chair, the stuff of pool nightmares.
If they go on to win Spain, we're going to have to ask David about that break shot. How did he figure that out? Most of the players have been just hitting them as hard as they can. This is more of a medium to soft break that they are employing, and it's working.
The one thing you don't want to do in a situation like this is overcomplicate it. Just making absolutely sure everything is in order. I think if they'd been playing as individuals, the rack would have been over now, but they want to make sure that they're not giving their partner anything he doesn't want. If you want to see speed pool, Malta's Tony Drago is just extraordinary. I've seen him run racks on a regular basis in a minute or less. That one wasn't the best, mind you. The incorrect angle on the black 8 ball.
Right, the cue ball will be running away from the 9.
Absolute bundles of side to obtain the position, and this is an easier 9 ball than the one that Alcaide knocked in rack number 2. In the first 3 racks of today, we have only one thing to say: Viva España! They lead 3-0. To look forward to.
David Alcaide trying to replicate that fantastic break shot that the Spaniards seem to have figured out. He's got the wing ball down, the pink 4. No direct shot on a pocket for the 1 ball, but could be a combination, the 1-5, or they might choose to play safe.
One thing they can't do, of course, is to just tickle into the 1 and get behind the 5. A ball has to make contact with a cushion.
Well, they did just that. just enough speed to hit the cushion, and that is a terrific safety right there. Of course, he would have wanted to have it absolutely touching the 5 ball, the cue, but good nonetheless.
So this is Duan Quoc Huang.
Extension call.
No quality table time yet for the Vietnamese. Just trying to stem the tide.
Now, when they're on the back foot already, 3-0, and now they're playing a safety battle with the Spaniards.
It's on. If the Vietnamese need encouragement, which I think they do, yesterday we saw a couple of matches where a team went off to a 3-0 lead and eventually lost 7-3. So, not out of this yet.
That's right. Chile and Canada got off to good starts. But this 1 ball is open. And after this, the table is spread apart. So, happy days so far for Team Spain.
Diagonal queuing across a side cushion is never easy. Now this too looks relatively straightforward, but take it from me, it is not. Yeah. Especially playing it at quiet pace for position on the 3.
Yeah, queuing off the rail limits the options of the player. Can only see part of the cue ball. Perfect. Perfect shot. Nice pace. Rolled it in. And left a nice angle here on the 3. The next ball after this will be the orange 5.
Well, at the risk of being repetitious, no obvious obstacle again. Everything there for them. Well, I said earlier on that one particular positional shot was a tad clumsy. That was very clumsy. This time, though, it's Alcaide who was the culprit.
Yeah, Ruíz is really going to have to cut this. Oh, he does the bank.
Well, we've been looking for a potential turning point. Maybe that's it. It was a terrible positional shot. It really was.
Yeah, he didn't even leave him a good enough angle for a cut shot, so he had to try the bank, and the bank forced him to hit it extremely hard in order to try to get position on the 8, which actually he did, but he didn't make the 7. So here's Nguyen now. Takes it down, and, well, he ran into the 8 ball and left a little tricky shot for his partner.
I think what happened there, the Vietnamese player thought there was an extension available, then he realised there wasn't and had to really rush the shot. I think he played it at 3 seconds left.
And Zhuang, that's very good technique right there. So you could be right, Phil. Team gets out to 3-0. They were looking at an easy 4-0, but poor positional play by the Spaniards, by David Alcaide, and Vietnam gets the point.
Yes, and in terms of that particular rack, it was one that undoubtedly got away from the Spanish. And of course, in this format, it's not just the fact you win a rack, it's also that you get to break in the next. For someone of his experience. Very surprising that Alcaide left the cue ball there. You can't really blame Francisco Ruíz for missing the double. It was a high tariff shot. The blame lay in the shot before that.
It's a new life for the Vietnamese. Smiling all of a sudden. Before they looked, just a few minutes ago, they were very concerned. And they should have been. They were staring at a 4-0 deficit. It's just a race to 7, and it's winner breaks. This is like nothing in the sport of pool.
Yes, for all intents and purposes. Let's face it, let's get to the crux of this. They should be 4-0 down. No ifs, buts, or maybes.
5. Time to break.
And many times we see in the sport of pool, whether it be singles or doubles, that a missed shot like that when you're cruising can often lead to the shift of momentum to the other side very quickly.
So let's see for the first time how the Vietnamese deal with the break.
Two balls down. The object ball will be the 2, but that is blocked by the 9.
Yes, a good break with just an annoying caveat, which is that the 2, as you say, Ted, is blocked.
Well, he can see a slight edge of that blue 2. So here comes a safety. He kicks it and hides the cue behind the 9. Nicely done. Might see the jump shot here from Team Spain. Indeed, it'll be Ruíz with the short stick.
Extension call.
Looks like he's going to actually try to hit a combination. So he's got to hit the 2 ball first and send the 2 into the 5, which is right by the corner. He's got a big pocket there. 5 is in perfect position. There's a good chance he could make that 5.
Well, he's achieved the next best thing. Distance between cue ball and object ball, and an absolute full ball snooker.
And also the 4 is now tied up with the 7.
Yeah, I think that conundrum will be solved by a 4-7 combination, which shouldn't be too difficult. I think whoever gets in, whoever pots the 2, will be a heavy favourite for the rack. But having said that, after what happened in the previous rack, we should not be counting any chickens.
Look out for the scratch. Oh, that was so close.
Now that's what you call living on the edge.
And that cue ball could drop any second if there's a breeze coming through the door here.
Well, I know there was an earthquake which affected a game in San Francisco the other night, baseball. Let's hope there's no tremors here because the white would be in.
Remember, after contact with the object ball, something has to hit a rail. have liked to have hidden that behind the 9 ball. Instead, he nudges the 9 out of the way.
A very different feel to this rack to the first 4 when it was pretty much all attack, all potting. Oh, that could be a mistake. The obvious bank is there. No bank, still defensive, and it's okay.
It's still early days in this match, but still a massive rack here, because what a difference. 4-1, 3-2, it's just a race to 7. So already the pressure building, especially on Team Vietnam. And they're battling it out over this blue 2.
Extension call.
So not many places to hide here. Maybe just go for distance. Or go for a carom like that into the 5. He actually tried to pot the 5 ball. Did he leave the 2 on? Interesting, Phil. He went offensive there.
Yeah, for a while I thought that the 6 might come to the Vietnamese rescue, but it hasn't. Clear path through to the 2.
He tried a carom off the 2 into the orange 5, which was sitting near the corner pocket. It's a very common shot, but unsuccessful, and now the 2 is finally open. So this is the key shot here, getting this 4-7 and then maintaining position for the 4. Nicely done. So looking good right now for Team Spain. Going to touch this in. Position on the orange 5.
Yes, the 5-8 combination is so straightforward. That's what they've plumbed for.
And there you see Ruíz pointing his Q-tip at the place that he wants to leave the cue ball after potting this 5. He's going to bring it back up table. Right where he pointed to. So it all came down to a safety battle over that blue 2, and they went back and forth for a few minutes. And the Vietnamese, sensing, I guess, that they needed to make something happen, going offensive. Maybe didn't feel that there was anywhere to park the cue ball or the 2.